All right, everybody, it's a pleasure to have you on here. My name is Allen Devlin. I am going to be joining you for three of our top stories here at the Atlanta News First Alert desk. Afterwards, we're going to have Cutter Martin come up. He's going to walk you through the weather. It's a pleasure to have you on board this fine Tuesday at 8 o'clock, July 25th. So it definitely feels like July outside, I'll tell you that. So we're going to start off here with an interesting story that is coming out of the metro area, where police are now working on protecting themselves when it comes to handling dangerous drugs. They're out and about, they're seizing these drugs, and sometimes they can be accidentally exposed. And we've seen viral videos and instances and body cam video of those officers getting injured or incapacitated by the exposure to things like fentanyl. It only takes that much to really cause some damage there. But we've got Atlanta News First reporters walking you through it.
Hugh Garcia with the Conyers Police Department says in their first aid kits, each officer carries masks, gloves, and other PPE like a recyclable CPR mask.
Sometimes they come in contact with the officer's skin and it could transfer the drugs into the officer's skin, or whatever they're overdosing on may contaminate the officer.
Fentanyl is up to 50 times stronger than heroin. The CDC says fentanyl can be absorbed into the body by skin contact. Some medical studies differ. A Georgia congressman's first resolution before Congress asking for more research to be done on opioids, trying to find new detection tools for all law enforcement, from federal agents to local police officers.
At some point, we've got to take a hard look and we've got to secure our border and make sure that bad agents and bad products are not just streaming across that border at free will.
A new opioid, an elephant tranquilizer called Tranq, is becoming more commonly mixed with fentanyl. It's immune to naloxone, which can reverse an overdose. Georgia Congressman Mike Collins named his resolution the Tranq Research Act.
This is a very concerning trend. Tranq earned the name zombie drug because it kills human tissue.
It looks like the resolution has bipartisan support and will pass. It still needs another vote before it can head to the president's desk. In Atlanta, I'm Abby Casores.
The next story I want to talk to you guys about here is some good news. If you are an avid online shopper, UPS and the Teamsters Union have basically agreed to a deal, but we're not at that final checkpoint yet. You probably know that they have been threatening a strike, which would bring a halt to the U.S. shipping economy. And thankfully, the terms have been agreed to, but all of those members, hundreds of thousands of them, have to vote to actually ratify the language in the upcoming agreement. But we can walk you through that as well, and hopefully now your packages will be arriving on time.
Just a few days ago, union workers rallied in Atlanta, where UPS is based, demanding better pay and working conditions.
Teamsters want a very strong contract, and we want a very strong contract for ourselves, and of course we want it for the future.
The Teamsters represent about 340,000 UPS employees, more than half of the company's workforce. The union had vowed to walk off the job if no deal was reached by next week's deadline.
Thus, if not, then they're going to strike themselves and we'll withhold our labor.
But now a historic shift. The Teamsters Union and UPS announcing today they reached a tentative deal on a new contract, potentially avoiding a strike. The Teamsters Union says the tentative deal on a new contract includes historic wage increases. Current full and part-time UPS Teamsters will get $2.75 more an hour in 2023. The contract includes safety and health protections, including vehicle air conditioning and cargo ventilation. No more forced overtime on Teamsters drivers' days off, and all UPS Teamsters would get MLK Day as a full holiday for the first time. In a statement, UPS said in part, this agreement continues to reward UPS's full and part-time employees with industry-leading pay and benefits, while retaining the flexibility to stay competitive, serve our customers, and keep our business strong.
And there you have it. So now we are likely going to reach that agreement, and so you can continue to shop peacefully, knowing your packages will be arriving, at least for the most part, on time. The last story I want to walk you through here is one that might hit home for a few of you out there if you've ever had your car broken into here in the metro area. A rash of break-ins have been hit in Atlanta, Buckhead, Midtown, Upper Perimeter, Southern Perimeter, wherever you want to go, ever since the pandemic started up. A lot more people are at home now. These cars are sitting in the driveways. People are working from home, and these criminals are learning patterns. But specifically, what we're seeing a lot of the time is these massive break-ins, these large break-ins all at once, where criminals are hitting apartment complexes, parking garages, things like that. So now there is a push to get these security cameras installed in these apartment complexes to better protect the cars from getting broken in, just like some of these here.
The cleanup and the costly repairs. Tony Campbell, owner of Clearview Auto Glass, knows the feeling of hopelessness that comes after a car break-in.
Everybody just really lost on what to do.
Campbell has serviced over a dozen cars here at the Mariposa Loft Apartments.
I have done 19 cars so far out here. A lot of people have been devastated.
The complex where over 100 cars were broken into Saturday, the latest example of an issue plaguing Metro Atlanta.
And ultimately, at the end of the day, this is not good for our city.
Councilwoman Keisha Waits is co-authoring legislation to hold apartments accountable.
Any apartment complex that has an excess of 500 individuals living there in one place, multifamily housing, you would be required to have commercial grade surveillance cameras as well as additional lighting.
Wade says surveillance video is critical in solving these types of crimes, as seen here where Atlanta police was able to release the suspect's photos in the Inman Park break-ins.
The additional cameras simply are a tool so that we can go ahead and feed into live footage and we can possibly apprehend individuals.
And while bad circumstances make for good business, Campbell agrees more needs to be done.
I hate to see it. I would rather replace your windshield with a crack than having it come because somebody took your belongings.
The drafted bill is expected to go before a committee August 7th. Brittany Ford, Atlanta News. First.
Even the auto glass repair guy is saying that too many cars are getting broken into, so you know it's a problem. Hopefully, maybe this bill will bring some peace, some resolution for all of us here in the Metro. All right, that's all I've got for you today, but now I'm going to turn it over, as promised, to meteorologist Cutter Martin, who has been talking about the weather here for a while, and it's been hot. Cutter, it has been insanely hot.
And it's about to get even hotter. In fact, I think this could be one of the hottest summer weeks we've had probably, in a couple years, 2-3 years, with temperatures in the mid to upper 90s by the time we end the work week, head into the weekend. So enjoy the relatively cool weather we have outside right now, though I know it is still warm. Temperatures in the upper 80s to near 90, but it is cooler than it is going to be as we get into our Wednesday, Thursday, and then especially Friday, Saturday, Sunday, on into next Monday and Tuesday. Not just the heat, but we're going to bring humidity back into the picture. Of course, that combo, moisture in the air, very warm, hot afternoon temperatures. It will produce potentially dangerous heat index temperatures, something we'll be watching out for pretty closely here over the next several days. But again, live outside. This is on the roof of Atlanta News First, looking back towards Midtown. The yellow glow on our buildings as the sun gets lower on the horizon. It is very pretty outside this evening. Light breeze and earlier showers that were roaming the area, even a few severe thunderstorms earlier today up in White County. And Banks County. Those have weakened, though not completely dry out there. We have a couple showers moving southward through Heard County back towards West Point Lake. This will be back into the LaGrange area, at least the northwest side of town, and over the lake here within the next 30 to 45 minutes if they hold together. Closest into the metro, we actually did have a tiny little downpour here in South Fulton, southwest DeKalb counties, and move through North Clayton, the Morrow community, Forest Park, and this is continuing to move off to the south, so Riverdale in particular could be impacted by this shower. Not even any lightning with it. Irondale, perhaps into far eastern and northeastern Fayette County. You could get a brief shower, but again, just one or two neighborhoods wide. This is a very small little shower. Could make it into Muddy's Mill by 8:21, but I do think that shower will continue to weaken. And as soon as the sun sets, we're going to lose the heat needed to keep these showers and earlier thunderstorms going. So we're going to see more and more weakening and eventually nothing on first alert radar. Fannin County, a couple sprinkles along the state line. Another downpour here approaching, but now weakening as it moves into Lumpkin County. Earlier shower near Dahlonega is weakened. Another one on US 19 north of town. So again, we have a little bit of moisture out there. Showers, though, gradually diminishing hour by hour forecast. Notice the rain chance in Atlanta at 0, and we'll keep it dry through the overnight period with temperatures back in the mid-upper 70s by midnight, 1 a.m. So a warm evening, though not that muggy, at least not yet. Temperature out the door tomorrow morning, about 73 or so, 7 a.m., light breezes. Once again, not that muggy of a morning, lots of sunshine, though a little warmer than it was this time yesterday morning and this morning. So out the door tomorrow around 7, 8 o'clock, maybe 2 to 3 degrees warmer than this morning. 73 your low in Atlanta, 69 Roswell, 68 Palmetto, McDonough, 68, 69 Sugar Hill. If you want cooler weather, low to mid 60s, something a little bit more comfortable up in the mountains, that's where you'll need to be. Blue Ridge, Fannin County, LJ, Helen Ivy Log, Clayton County or Clayton Community, the Raven County area. Also into Clay County, North Carolina. That's where it will be coolest tomorrow, but again, not for long. Temperatures going to be warming up pretty quickly. Here is that hour-by-hour forecast. Lots of sunshine, maybe just a few high wispy clouds, and we're in the lower 90s by noon. It's going to be a hot lunch hour. Outdoor table, if you get one, it's going to be pretty toasty, so maybe eat the lunch inside, and we're going to warm up from there as well. Topping out tomorrow in the mid-90s. I want to remind you, if you have any weather questions, comments, concerns, we're live right now on YouTube. On Atlanta News First, that's the account to like and to follow if you want to view this stream. Maybe you're watching on Roku, Amazon Fire, and the Atlanta News First app, First Alert Weather app, great places to watch. But you can ask your weather questions, address any comments, concerns in the on the Atlanta News First YouTube feed. Going to keep it live and open here for a few more minutes as we talk about the forecast. If you do have any weather questions, navigate over there. I'll be checking the feed here momentarily once again. And again, the story tomorrow is about the heat. Temperatures near 90 at noon, but it will be feeling a little hotter than the air temperature tomorrow because there's going to be just a little bit more moisture in the air. Feeling hotter than 100 potentially in a few spots, but mainly the south side of town. Still some drier air north of I-20 on up into the mountains, so not too much of a heat index. But regardless, whether it's, a hotter heat index in the actual air temperature or not, it's going to be a warm day tomorrow. Rome 96, 96 Atlanta, Gainesville 94, so a hot day up on Lake Lanier. Athens 96, 94 down in Noonan, Coweta County. And like today, with high pressure in control, it's going to be a code orange setup tomorrow. Once again, air quality alert is in effect, code orange. So the really sensitive groups, those that is who will be most impacted, I should say, by the hot temperatures and basically the squashing of the air. And this weather pattern may have high pressure in control, that's sinking air. So clouds have a harder time growing taller. And any pollutants like, from car exhaust and bus exhaust and stuff like that, rather than escaping back up into the upper atmosphere, it's trapped at the surface. And that's why we tend to have higher levels of ozone. This alert, not smoke related tomorrow, but higher levels of ozone pollutants, so it makes it a little bit harder to breathe for those with asthma, COPD, the very young, the very old. Anyone who is sick or has a respiratory infection, strenuous outdoor activities, not that you would be doing that, but if you are, best to avoid those sorts of activities during the hottest time of the day. Generally expecting the worst air quality to occur between about 2 and maybe 8 p.m. Sunset onward in the evening is when it gets a little bit better out there as this hot weather pattern continues. Would not be surprised if we had more code orange air quality alerts issued, even going into the weekend. So just keep that in mind. Best to get the runs out of the way early in the morning or perhaps into the late evening, even after sunset. I know it's dark, but temperatures will be cooler and air quality will tend to be a little bit better. All right, let's lay out the next 10 days, going beyond the 7-day forecast here, and we are talking heat, high temperatures in the upper 90s. Some of the data has us warmer than 100, even in Atlanta. Challenging records at the very least, and we could break a couple as we get into this weekend and early next week. Very hot weather, upper 90s. You factor in some increasing humidity and moisture, and it could feel as hot as 104, 106, especially early next week as we kind of reach the peak of this hot weather, this heat wave, and could see some heat advisories issued by that point. And we've come out of a stormy pattern the past couple of days. I know today we had a few severe storms, but very isolated, largely dry. And we're going to keep the forecast mostly dry through that 7-day forecast. And by the end of this, you're probably going to be begging for some rain. Days and days of temperatures in the 90s, not much rain around. Things are going to dry out here. And it's going to be very, very hot, stressing the plants, stuff like that. So we could use some free water by the end of that 7-day forecast. And there are signs by the middle of next week and late next week, beyond the scope of that 7 and even 10-day forecast, we may see a little boundary, a little front sneak southward and help boost the chance of showers and thunderstorms as we get into the middle and end of next week. Again, not this week, not within the next few days. We have to look way out in the extended forecast to look for any real signs of change. So just keep that in mind. If you have any hot weather plans, at the lake, the river, shooting the hooch, going to the pool, perfect for that. Make sure you're wearing the sunscreen, apply and reapply. UV indices will be very high to extreme Levels 10 and 11 the next several days, so easy to get a burn. Of course, this time of year, if you're outside for an extended period, make sure you're staying hydrated, finding shade, taking adequate breaks. I know two-a-days starting up in many schools, football and cross country. Those early season sports, especially two-a-days. It's going to be pretty toasty here the last couple weeks of summer. And students that are wanting to enjoy and get outside, go to the park, go to the pool, do it. Just stay hydrated. Make sure you're finding some shade whenever you can. And enjoy the evenings. At least a little bit of relief as we get closer to sunset each day. Again, a gorgeous look outside for looking from Atlanta News First back towards Midtown. The golden hour outside right now, a little cooler. First Alert meteorologist Fred Campagna in at 9 p.m. Atlanta News First on Peachtree TV. He'll have the full forecast. 10 o'clock hour, I'll take over. Then he's back, Atlanta News First on WANF with some of that new evening data coming in. Unfortunately, it doesn't look like we're going to be able to trim numbers too much. Data consistently hot through the next 7 to 10 days. But we'll update you on that forecast, keeping you updated as well at AtlantaNewsFirst.com and in the First Alert weather app.